Hey guys, Bubba here with the BubbaNews, all in one word, all in one news. How are you guys doing tonight? It is hard to believe that today is Monday, April 7th. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to call this one Trump Netanyahu Meeting Today, because all the focus today was on this huge Trump Netanyahu meeting. And what happened, because basically Netanyahu was summoned to the United States in short order a couple days ago when he was visiting Hungary to come to the United States. And we'll see what they were talking about, from tariffs to the hostages to the whole thing with Syria and Turkey coming in, and also with Iran. So we'll discuss that, and basically that's a lot of what's today's news is going to be about. There's going to be some, oh man, there's a crazy thing at the end. I'm saving this for the last, at the end of the video, guys. But this is the Shroud of Turin was put in through AI, and they came out with this AI Jesus in a video. Oh, it's just freaky. It's creepy. But yeah, we also were going to talk about, we just hit 10,000 subscribers. So I'm going to give a big shout out in the middle to you guys. Whether you've been here 5 minutes or almost 5 years, thank you. You guys, this isn't my channel. This isn't the Bubba News or Bubba News channel. This is God's channel. And all glory and honor goes to Jesus Christ, of course. But I just have a passion for doing the Bible prophecy and sharing it with you guys. But yeah, let's get back to, after we did the video last night, I wanted to first talk off about Turkey before we get to Netanyahu here. So I'm going to be bouncing around between Netanyahu, Turkey, and Iran, and Trump. So it's going to be kind of squirrely. But, there's been a dramatic shift in Syria, because after Assad's regime collapsed, Turkey has effectively taken control of large swaths of Syrian territory. And of course, they've got the former jihadist leader al-Jawlani. So Ankara, Turkey is no longer a guest in Syria. It is now the landlord. Turkey now controls military zones from Palmyra to al-Hasaka, combining regular forces, special advisors, and proxy militias. For Israel, this is not just another front. It's a new strategic threat with NATO-grade capabilities at its doorstep, because Turkey's part of NATO. Israel's already responded with airstrikes that have targeted Turkish military activity in Syria, including Palmyra's planned airbase. But Turkish engineers and defense systems are going to bring in possibly the S-400 air defense system. So tensions are at a boiling point. And the real danger is a single miscalculation. An intercepted Israeli jet, even by mistake, would ignite a wide open conflict, yet the United States remains silent. So Trump's administration's tied up elsewhere, leaving a dangerous vacuum in the region. So the Middle East is on edge between Israel and Turkey, both modern militaries, and they're both U.S. allies. And Turkey and Israel are on a collision course in Syria. So will Washington act in time? That's the big question. Not if they clash, but when. So let's get right to today's stuff that we put up there on the Telegram. Let's start over here with Proverbs 4:23, and I'm actually going to read, I like it better, and this is just a paraphrase, I think. I just took it from Twitter and shared it with you guys. But, I love Proverbs 4, verses 18 and 19. But the way of the righteous is like the light of dawn that shines brighter and brighter until the full day. The way of the wicked is like darkness. They do not know over what they stumble. So Proverbs 4:23, watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the springs of life. Not just everything you do flows from it, but from us flows the springs of life. And Jesus says, I will come and give you these rivers and streams of life that will outflow from you from the Holy Spirit. It's just so cool. Oh, we've got to just plug into the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, let's keep going. Today, earlier, they came out and said that the White House was going to cancel the big press conference with the Prime Minister Netanyahu. So, with the markets going on today, with the big stock market crash fall, only to see that the NASDAQ ended positive for the day. So we didn't land into that depression scenario that I was referring to last night. But, the stuff with Netanyahu and coming to America and talking with Trump, Netanyahu basically wants the Libya model. It's the full dismantling of Iran's nuclear program. So there was lots of speculation about what was going on today at the meeting and what they talked about. And we'll show some videos here in a second. But just before Netanyahu entered the White House, French President Macron called, Trump called French President Macron. And it was organized because he was down there in Egypt still from visiting yesterday with al-Sisi of the president of Egypt, but also Jordan's King Abdullah was there to discuss Gaza. So King Abdullah of Jordan was there. King Sisi, of course, was there in Egypt, and French President Macron was there. So Trump phone called those three and let them know. So some big things are getting ready to be unveiled. Now, whether or not he called them and let them know like a military attack is coming, or if he called them to see if they'd be willing to take in and discuss, Gazans leaving, I don't know. But, and now we're going to switch to Iran because Israel believes now, because this was a lot of the talk today too, but Israel believes that it is capable of attacking Iran's nuclear program without direct U.S. participation. And the Israeli military leadership is pushing for this in the short term. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz today said, "We will do everything necessary to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. We will continue to strike Iran's agents until the Iranian axis of evil is crushed and shot down." But the United States has been moving in, forces into the general vicinity of Iran, like the bombers on Diego Garcia, the B-2 bombers, and then the other carrier groups that are moving into the Indian Ocean, and we're going to show a map of where they are here in a little bit. But the assumption under Trump is that, they're still planning on striking Iran's nuclear facilities to stop them from making nuclear weapons. So it's still, I believe, going to be a United States and Israel combo attack, but something is coming to break the bow of Elam. That's Jeremiah 49:35. And the bow of Elam is basically their launchers. They're missile launchers. I mean, there's a reason why an additional THAAD battery, the high altitude air defense, missile defense battery was moved to Israel over the weekend. I mean, there's a reason why that was added, because Iran is getting so close to fielding a nuclear weapon. In other words, having at least one nuclear warhead in position on a launcher and ready to launch. And that's when the United States, even during Biden's term, they're very clear, like, we will not allow Iran to field a nuclear weapon. In other words, have a nuclear warhead on a launcher ready to go. That's when they plan on attacking. So it's almost like this cat and mouse game. Who's going to do it first? Is Iran going to get the nuclear weapon first loaded onto a warhead, onto a launcher? Or is the United States and Israel going to find out beforehand and take it out before they can push the trigger, pull the button? You know what I mean? Push the button, get the thing fired. But Iran plans on having 6 nuclear warheads ready when they do attempt to launch on Israel. And that's the big concern too, is that True Promise 3 will be launched from Iran to attack Israel. But there's a question why they want to have 6 nuclear warheads ready when they do attempt to launch on Israel. Well, 2 are going to target Haifa, 2 are going to target Tel Aviv, and 2 are going to target Jerusalem. Iran figures even if 1 per city would be miraculously shot down by Israel's Arrow 3 air defense system or the USA THAAD system, the other one would still hit its target city and do massive destruction. And here's a quick video from, I believe it's ILTV News there in Israel on the THAAD missile system being brought in.
The Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD, is one of the most advanced in the world. It's designed to intercept ballistic missiles during their final phase of flight, using kinetic energy to destroy incoming threats before they can strike. This latest deployment, reportedly carried out in recent days, adds another layer to Israel's already robust missile defense network, which includes the Iron Dome, David Sling, and the Arrow systems. While those systems cover short to long-range threats, THAAD offers a powerful backup shield, particularly against potential launches from further away. The timing of this transfer is significant. Just weeks ago, the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog warned that Iran's nuclear program is advancing, while diplomatic efforts to revive a nuclear agreement remain stalled. Meanwhile, reports continue to emerge about Iran enriching uranium well beyond civilian use thresholds, raising alarm bells across the West. The Pentagon has not officially confirmed the THAAD deployment, but the move is seen by analysts as both a strategic deterrent to Iran and a message of reassurance to Israel. The added firepower also comes as Israel remains on high alert following a wave of attacks by Iranian-backed militias across the region, including rocket launches from Syria and Lebanon.
Anyway, sorry guys, I get excited. I was watching that video, so here we go.
The decision to reinforce Israel's defenses underscores a clear red line. The U.S. remains committed to Israel's military edge, especially as regional instability grows.
Man, but you know what? They're getting ready for Iran. But today, another player is getting involved because I said this on Telegram. I said one player in the coming Gog of Magog war is meeting another player in the Gog of Magog war. Ezekiel 38 verse 5, Persia and Put. This is basically Iran. Persia is over there, Iran, and Put is Algeria, part of Algeria. Iran's foreign minister embarked on a visit to Algeria to engage in discussions with the Algerian officials regarding bilateral, regional, and international matters. Last month, Algeria received a brand new Russian Su-57 fighter jet. A couple of them. This is the first country outside of Iran that now has this cutting-edge fighter jet. It's the latest and greatest from Russia. And Algeria has it. And they're going to be part of this whole Gog of Magog war thing that's coming up. That's just crazy to me. Because literally, this is what I'm saying. We can literally look at today's headlines and use the Bible as our reader glasses to see these things just come into play. This is crazy town. Speaking of, all this stuff is going on because even today, The Guardian said Iran is believed to be in the final stages of preparation for Operation True Promise 3 and could launch a major strike on Israel in April. I mean, there's a reason that Trump called the French and Egyptian presidents and the King of Jordan before meeting with Netanyahu today. It's possible that the United States was warning them of an impending attack on Iran. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But everything is going on with the tariffs and the wars too. Not only in the Middle East, but we've got this. And, Trump and his whole thing, man, this is crazy town because these tariffs are going to increase pricing for consumers and businesses with what's coming. And it's going to be hyperinflation like we've never seen before. There's a reason why a measure of wheat for a penny is prophesied, because global inflation will affect every human on the planet, according to Revelation 6, verses 5 and 6, the third seal. And this was put out today. I'm going to show this video. It was posted by the Chinese embassy in the United States. This is wild. Because the Chi-Com's posting old Reagan videos as truthful nostalgia regarding tariffs. Well, this was not on my 2025 bingo card. Let's put it this way. In 1988, Ronald Reagan said when Congress passed the Smoot-Hawley tariffs in 1930, we were told that it would protect America from foreign competition and save jobs in this country. And this is the same line we're hearing today, that these tariffs are going to be a short-term pain, but it's going to be good for us. But Reagan went on to say that the actual result was the Great Depression. Trump's global tariffs are going to totally transform global markets. More and more countries are going to continue to abandon doing business with the United States.
You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group.
Reagan was so right on so many things, especially if you guys research that Smoot-Hawley tariffs, S-M-O-O-T Hawley, H-A-W-L-E-Y, back in 1930. I mean, you see this great stock market crash in 1929, and then the Great Depression in the 30s. So this is exactly what's going on with these tariffs. And it's like this is being done on purpose by the global elites to totally crash the world's economy, to bring about their great reset, make it look good on paper, when in reality it's just going to destroy everything, and just the inflation is going to just be insane. But, you know, this video, let's keep going back, because this is on Netanyahu, Trump, their meeting today. I mean, so Netanyahu said that they discussed Gaza, Syria, and Turkey, and we discussed how we can avoid this conflict with Turkey in a variety of ways, and I think we can't have a better interlocutor than the President of the United States. So Trump, and we're going to show some videos here, but Trump says direct talks with Iran have started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And so far, Iran has denied any direct talks, and they have. But even if direct talks were agreed upon before now, it remains to be seen if the decision to announce them this way will tank them before they even start. Time will tell. Iran may refuse talks even for now, which they won't, and I'm going to share that in a second. But Trump adds that the meeting on Saturday will take place at nearly the highest level. Unclear what that actually meant at the time, but he's not clarifying further. But Trump is going to, in this video next, he threatens Iran. He says, maybe we will get a deal and it will be even better for Iran. I hope we don't have to reach other options. Regarding the upcoming Iranian talks, Trump says it would be in Iran's best interest if these talks were successful compared to the alternative.
We're having direct talks with, wait. We're having direct talks with Iran, and they've started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious. And the obvious is not something that I want to be involved with, or frankly, that Israel wants to be involved with if they can avoid it. So we're going to see if we can avoid it. But it's getting to be very dangerous territory. And hopefully those talks will be successful. And I think it would be in Iran's best interest if they are successful. We hope that's going to happen.
I don't mean to bore you guys with these videos, but a lot of times, a lot of you guys haven't seen these videos. And there's a lot of important things, I believe, especially as it relates to Bible prophecy and what's coming with Israel and Iran and Turkey and whatnot. And this next clip is Trump says, I think if the talks aren't successful, talking about the nuclear talks coming up with Iran on Saturday, then I think Iran is going to be in great danger. Trump went on to say, I hate to say it, but Iran cannot have a nuclear program. If the talks don't work, I think it will be a bad day for Iran. So I said the rhetoric continues by Trump against Iran. Meanwhile, Iran will continue to build into their nuclear warhead plan. No talks will be successful. Iran knows this. The United States knows this. Israel knows this. It's just a matter of time before who will attack first. Will Iran attack Israel and the U.S. military bases in the region by doing a preemptive strike? Or will something go down that will force an Israeli-USA attack on Iran first?
If diplomacy fails, is the United States, under your leadership, ready to take military action to destroy the Iranian nuclear program and remove this threat?
I think if the talks aren't successful with Iran, I think Iran is going to be in great danger. And I hate to say it, great danger, because they can't have a nuclear weapon.
So is that a yes?
You know, it's not a complicated formula. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's all there is. Can't have it. Right now we have countries that have nuclear power that shouldn't have it, but I'm sure we'll be able to negotiate out of that too as part of this later on down the line. But Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And if the talks are successful, I actually think it'll be a very bad day for Iran if that's the case. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, everything's coming up, and the rhetoric is continuing. And it seems like they're going to try to get these talks done, but then they're going to wait maybe until May 1st. And I don't know if Netanyahu is willing to wait that long, or May 15th, sometime like that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Definitely keep an eye on that. I've got about 10 more stories, so I'll keep going. But here's what I wanted to talk about, because we just hit 10,000. I know, and here's what I posted on the Telegram and on the YouTube. And I said, this may be dorky to celebrate 10,000 subs, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's joined this YouTube channel. Seriously. You guys watching right now. Or if you're watching in the future, after the premiere. You know, whether you've been a part of this YouTube channel for a few years or even a few minutes. I just want to say thank you for watching and sharing these videos. You know, and I went on to say, because I believe there are much better channels out there. But, you know, this has always been what you see is what you get kind of a thing with me, Bubba. I'm just who I am, and I just want to be real with you guys. And I'm just like you guys. I'm nobody special. I'm just a hillbilly who loves Jesus and wants to share the good news of his imminent return and everything that's connected with Bible prophecy. And I went on to say, I have a passion for serving Jesus, and I only want to finish strong for the Lord in these final days. And the desire to understand and share end-time Bible prophecy and how it relates to Israel and the surrounding world has been a passion inside of me for years. And it's only by God's grace do I even have a voice to share and eyes to see what God has placed on my heart to share with you all. My social media family. You guys literally are my social media family, and that's what I say. And I continue jokingly, but it's true. And I know a lot of you guys feel the exact same way, but you know, my immediate family or friends even, you know what I mean? They don't listen to me. But you all do. And I said, I'm sure many of you have family and neighbors and friends who think you're crazy too because you guys are watching for Jesus. I get it. But you know what? Maranatha. Because the King is coming, and, you know, what lies ahead, we can't even begin to imagine. But there's going to be some things I believe, if the Harpazo holds off for a little while longer, which I think it might, but, you know, we're going to start seeing some of these wars, I believe, kicking off, or at least getting really close to it, because it's almost like the race between the wars or our departure. So it'll be interesting to see, but, you know, and that's where I messed up. So I hit the wrong button there. I got too excited, I guess, talking about you guys being subscribers, but let's keep going. The Iranian Foreign Ministry denies that Iran has agreed to direct talks with the United States. Iran said that no direct talks are coming between Iran and the U.S. However, Trump said that the U.S. and Iran are set to begin indirect talks in Oman on Saturday. So if the first round of these indirect talks prove productive, this will show that Iran may be open to direct negotiations, which would be a significant shift in Iran's position. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because, you know, this is also why Oman was chosen to serve as the mediator. The foreign minister was at the head of the previous nuclear agreement, during which he served as deputy foreign minister for negotiations, alongside the deputy foreign minister for European and American affairs. But keeping, you know, a status update here on Diego Garcia, you know, Israel believes that it can, you know, it can do a full-on strike right now if it wanted to there on its own on Iran's nuclear program. And this is what columnist and the researcher Nadal Eyal was reporting. He said that the assault on Iran will target uranium enrichment capabilities and existing stockpiles, and the IDF will also target Iran's ballistic missiles and their air force. But as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, you've got the B-2 bombers there. But you know what? Israel cannot strike on Iran. They can't do it without a green light from Washington and some American help, the report says. But Israel will also have to coordinate flight routes with other states in the Middle East region. Israel does also, they need a specific U.S. refueling aircraft as well as some specific American bombs to ensure an effective strike, the report says. I don't totally agree with that report because Israel has learned how to do it on their own with their own refueling aircraft. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But Jerusalem hopes that the United States will push Tehran to sign a robust nuclear deal after an attack on Iran, this researcher said, so that Iran won't rebuild their nuclear program. So the general approach is that the IDF, and the IDF and Israel believes that there will be no effective agreement with Iran before it is defeated, like Hezbollah. So the indirect talks on Iran's nuclear issue are now scheduled to begin this weekend in Oman, being the mediator between Iran and the U.S. But here's what the Iranian foreign minister responded to tonight. He said Iran and the United States will meet in Oman on Saturday for indirect high-level talks. It is as much an opportunity as it is a test, he says. The ball is in America's court. This is Iran's way of basically saying, we'll play along for a while, but we won't come to an agreement with the USA. This way Iran can say to the world, but we tried. We really tried to get a nuclear deal. But we know the attack on Iran is coming. It just feels like Iran is biding their time right now. But Netanyahu, while he's in D.C., he's attempting to block the F-35 sales to Turkey. He said he's already coordinated with Rubio and hopes to convince Trump. So here's why. Because Netanyahu wants Secretary of State Marco Rubio to halt the sale of F-35 fighter jets to Turkey, with concerns over Turkey's growing influence in Syria. Israel doesn't want to have to go to head-to-head against Turkey in the future via F-35 aircraft. And Israel's very concerned with what Turkey is doing by moving into Syria lately. Because the whole thing, they are mulling a deconfliction line in Syria, sources are saying. So Israel and Turkey have held talks over the establishment of a deconfliction zone or line in Syria to avoid any misunderstandings and to prevent potential clashes between the two countries. Last week, the Israeli Air Force carried out several airstrikes in Syria targeting their military sites, including the Hama Air Base and the TS Air Base as well, which is also known as the T4, where Turkey is deploying to very soon. So the Israeli strikes occurred just as Turkey was preparing to send a technical team to inspect the T4 base and conduct a preliminary assessment for reconstruction efforts. Netanyahu informed his counterparts that Israel had a limited window to strike the T4 base before Turkey could position its assets there. Netanyahu said that once Turkey moves in, the base will be off limit to Israeli operations. Well, duh. The Turkish military is coming under attack by Israeli forces. Even if the Turkish military is coming under attack by Israeli forces, that could be a major mistake and would risk triggering a major conflict. But also Turkish air defenses that are being introduced into these bases will also deter Israeli aircraft from operating in this area, or so they think. So the tensions are really building up there between Turkey and Israel and Syria. But guess who else is back in the news? Diego Garcia, they're back in the news. This is one of two U.S. Air Force C-5M Super Galaxy aircraft that have arrived in Diego Garcia today. Both of these C-5s originated at Hill Air Force Base on the U.S. mainland, I believe, from Utah. And these are the largest U.S. transport aircraft that the United States has. These things, let's get over here. Let's get this guy back up here. There you go. Right there, over here to the left-hand side. That whole nose opens up on that airplane. But these transport aircraft, these things are huge, and they usually carry air defense systems or nuclear cargo. So, following the intense shipments to the Qatar UL Udeid Air Base, air defense and nuclear systems will also be brought and transported to Diego Garcia. So, it appears that the U.S. could be putting either Patriot missile systems or possibly another THAAD system down there. Because the U.S. is putting air defense systems to both the western and the southern axis of the world. This way, the United States aims not only to secure bases for Iranian operations and Israeli security, but also to close the western line, which from Iran could send missiles to the U.S. mainland in a possible counterattack. This way, if they deployed those THAADs, they're hoping to destroy them midway, maybe even to Diego Garcia or somewhere in the United States, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. But now we're getting ready to wrap up, guys. So thanks so much for sticking it out with me. But here comes the crazy part. This is fully demonic. The Shroud of Turin was run through AI to give us this. The AI version of the Shroud of Turin Jesus. You can literally feel the evil in this. Wait till the last 5 seconds. It gets really creepy. I saw this from The End Begins there on Twitter. And they went on to say, here we have the Shroud of Turin run through AI to give you the Caucasian Jesus. The shroud is not the face of Jesus, and neither is this mess. The real Jesus was a dark-skinned Jew, and his beard wasn't split like in a Roman Catholic painting. Go read your Bible. But check out this video, and the last 5 seconds are just nuts. Here we go. See what I mean at the very end? That is just freaky. But this AI Jesus, I mean, look, they have the scars on him. You know, but look at his beard, how it looks like, I don't even know what that looks like. But yeah, just freaky. But, you know, with all the insanity going on, just remember this, guys. Jesus is coming. And soon we're going home. You know, we all need to get ready. I've got an unsaved neighbor who's been listening to me for years, but he's never placed his heart change, had that change of heart of Ezekiel 36:26, taking out the heart of stone and giving you a soft heart of flesh. You know what I mean? He believes Jesus. He believes the stories. You know, he probably knows more about Bible prophecy than my wife and my kids put together. I mean, because he's always down here for the past couple of years just listening to me. But guys, we've got to be a mission board to the world somehow, some way, somewhere. You know, even Matthew 28:19 and 20, where Jesus talks about go forth and make disciples of all nations. And the word disciple there is, and I'm going to butcher the Greek, but it's like mathemateo. It's where we get the transliterated word mathematics. It means to become a studied learner and to share with others. You know, I want to share the Lord Jesus Christ and the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, but I also want to share the passion I have for end-time Bible prophecy because, guys, I'm excited because I'm getting ready because Jesus is coming. And soon we're going to be going home because I can't see us here much longer. The way things are going in this earth and the way that the plans are with the global elite, the way that they want to really have this two-state solution get really rocking by this June, I believe. But they've got some big wars that they've got to kick off here in April and May. And that'll be perfect timing for a short-term peace. You know, the Sidon prophecy with Hezbollah there in Lebanon, with all the stuff with the Psalm 83 war coming up. I still believe between now and June 1st, when they have that big peace meeting in New York City regarding Palestine, they're going to have the Isaiah 17, 1-14, Jeremiah 49, verses 23 to 27, second camera angle there, Damascus. We've got Jeremiah 49:2, where Jordan's going to be, you know, like Damascus is going to become a heap of ruins. Jordan, Jeremiah 49 verse 2 becomes a mound of dirt. Like I mentioned last night, in Egypt, there's a city in Isaiah 19 called the City of Destruction. And then we read in Obadiah 1, 17 through 20, where Israel's going to do a land grab after they take care of these neighboring enemies around them. But the time is coming, Zechariah 12:2, especially Zechariah 12:1 through 9, where, you know, there's going to be an unsuccessful siege of Judah and Jerusalem. I mean, this stuff is coming, and I don't think we really understand. But when this pops off, it's going to go fast, I believe. And, you know, the days we're experiencing now is going to seem like minutes and then seconds because things are going to be happening so fast. But guys, keep your heads up. Look up to Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If there's anything I can do for you guys, please let me know. But people, get ready. Jesus is coming, and soon we'll be going home. Maranatha.